Good evening, everyone. I want to call the March 16th, 2026 Special Council meeting to order. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Epiwik, Prince of Rhode Island, Mi'kmaq is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this land for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. At this time, I'd like to ask for an approval of our agenda for tonight's meeting. Okay, second, moved by Councillor Spinn, second by Councillor McLean. All in favor of the agenda as presented? Aye. Do we have any disclosure of conflict tonight on any of on the budget? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4, which is presentations and delegations, and we have none. And we'll move on to 5, and I'll begin that, and I'll later turn it over to John. So, on behalf of Council, I'm pleased to present the Town of Three Rivers 2026-2027 operating and capital budget tonight. This year's budget reflects the Council's continued commitment to responsible financial management while maintaining the services and investments our residents expect. I am pleased to share that this budget does not include any new increases in municipal tax rates for residents, seasonal residents, and businesses. So that's very pleased to present that information tonight. The town continues to see modest growth in property taxes, driven largely by ongoing development throughout Three Rivers. The growth reflects a strong appeal of our community as a place where people choose to live, raise families, and invest in their homes and businesses. Council is committed to managing this growth responsibly while ensuring that our community continues to thrive. At the same time, Council has taken a disciplined approach to spending, carefully managing expenses and limiting increases in expenditures to what is necessary to maintain service and meet our commitments. Three Rivers also continues to maintain a very strong financial position. Less than 1% of the town's total budget is dedicated to interest debt servicing, an exceptionally low level that reflects Council's prudent approach to borrowing and long-term financial planning. This places the town in a strong position to respond to future opportunities and community priorities. I'd like to commend the members of Council and, of course, our staff for the thoughtful work that goes into managing the town's finances each year. Their careful stewardship helps ensure that Three Rivers remains financially stable while continuing to grow as a vibrant and welcoming community. Thank you to our residents for your continued support and engagement with the work of your municipal governments. And having said that, I will turn it over to John to provide the details. You'll notice this year that we do have a budget package rather than just budget figures, which is, I'm sure that residents will find very much more informative, and I'd like to thank staff for the new format.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have just a few slides to walk through sort of the highlights of the 26-27 budget. Following my presentation, we'll entertain questions, and Don or I'll respond to any questions you may have. Just on the starting assumptions on the revenue side of things, we're seeing a $5.2 million revenue. That's an increase of $772,000 over last year's budget, and that's driven mostly by property taxes that we'll see an increase of $261,000. Property tax credit increase of $357,000. We do see an increase in fire dues of $60,000. That's not from an increase in dues. It's simply from the increase in assessments. And then we see another increase in $94,000. And I thought I'd throw this slide in here. It shows the property tax history from when the town was incorporated in 2019. You see a rapid growth in property taxes, with next year projected at over $2.5 million compared to just a little over $700,000 back in incorporation. So we're seeing that growth, which again, and you noted in your report, is from construction, people renovating, activities in the town, and that allows us to continue to improve services as we move forward. This is just a chart on the where our property or where our revenue comes from. 52% of that is from property taxes, another 17% is from property tax credit, and then you add another 2% onto that for property tax offset. The other areas are equalization, fire dues, operational grant, planning fees, and other revenue, 7%. And that other revenue includes things like our grant in lieu, fines from bylaw infractions, hall rentals. Winterville is a big part of that. Income from the AA Gardens in Georgetown, operational government transfers, and then some interest revenue. On expenses, we're seeing $4.79 million in our operational budget. We're seeing salary increases of 1.5%, which is below the cost of living, which was 1.8 last year. We have an expectation of a full staff complement. We do have one additional staff in the budget for kind of a arts and culture type position that we talked about earlier. That would be a portion of the year, and then we would review at the end of that period. And overall, our expenses increased by 4%. And you'll see this is a chart that illustrates our expenses by department, and fairly equitable across the board, with protection services at 22%, maintenance and infrastructure 23%, planning at 8%, administration at 22%, town-owned facilities 9%. Again, there's that 1% that you mentioned under financial and corporate services, and that also includes our bank charges in that, and then community services at 15%. This is a breakdown by numbers that illustrate where that 5.2 million is coming from. 2.7 million in property taxes, 882,000 from our property tax credit, 108,000 in equalization, property tax offset, that's under the MOS of 112, memorandum of settlement under 112,000, fire dues 842, an operational grant of close to 100,000, planning fees around 100 grand, other revenue to come up to that 5.2. And again, that's in much greater detail in your package. Expenses again, the 4.7 was fairly even around protective services, maintenance, and infrastructure. Planning is about 382,000, administration a little over $1 million, town-owned facilities 415,000, financial corporate services 41,000, community services at 725, which make up that 4.7. So summary, which when you take the revenue from the operating expenses, we're showing a surplus of $443,264. We do have principal debt payments that'll come out of that of $241,000. We are identifying that we could have possible capital expenditures of $400,000 for the coming year, and that would be our portion. We would leverage that with funding for the capital projects that have been identified. We have a surplus from previous years that we can bring forward of $693,000, and our net cash position would increase by $51,000 at the end of the year. If we look at some of the other entities that are in our package, Montague Water and Sewer will have revenue of $980,000, expenses of $681 for a surplus of $298,551. They did identify some capital items in there, so that surplus would be smaller, and again, that's the detail is in your package. Georgetown Sewer would have revenue of $131,000 against expenses of $105,000, which shows a surplus of $26,000. Cavendish Farms Wellness Center revenue of $581,000 against expenses of $587,000, showing a small loss of $5,000. Cardigan Fire Department would bring in revenue of $243,000, expenses of $210,000, again showing a surplus of $33,000. Georgetown Fire, $111,000 against expenses of $109,000, showing us a small surplus of $2,200. So again, that is the overview of your package. If you have any questions or comments, again, we took some time this year to put a bit of a narrative around the numbers, so you'll see that the package released to the public will include many of the charts and information that we provided to you tonight. Any questions for Don or I? Discussion?
Maybe we can just, you don't have a slide on the completed projects?
I did in my other
Okay.
package, it's in your
Okay.
package, I don't have it in
Yeah,
front of me.
I just wanted to bring that to the attention of everybody, that we have included completed projects and the projects in progress. Some of them are the solar at the Three Rivers Complex, the TCAP jurisdictional scan, which is underway, the Cardigan Fire Hall, which is, I'm not sure where that's at, but it's in progress.
Yep.
The sewer utility storage building in Montague, the museum accessible washroom and door, that's been on the capital budget for some time, and the Sackville Street pathway down here at the, leading to the marina. So there's a number of projects that were completed. I won't go through all those, but just bring those to everybody's attention, that is in your package as well.
And if approved tonight, the package will be on the website tomorrow.
Okay, do we have any questions? John, go ahead, John.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just 3 points to clarify things in my mind. I see the funding in there for streetscapes and beautification. Just the lights, the new lights are going to be continued this year for Main Street, Montague. Will that bring us up to Brook Street and around the block, or just?
That would have to be a Dorothy question, I think. I think we're looking at 10 additional lights for this year?
I think there's a few more than that.
Okay.
But it would replace all of the existing
The,
lights.
okay, the
Sorry.
square ones.
The lights that we would purchase this year would replace all of the existing lights that are currently within the town.
Right, okay, very good, excellent. Also, we always talk about art, but we never seem to get anything finished as far as repairs and even a new piece. There's funding in there, there's money in there for, it does say new art piece, but what about maintenance? Because there's a lot of pieces that need, like the cormorants down there, needs maintenance. The fish up at the TCAP, the thing, it hasn't worked for years. And if you compare those, I believe they're made out of the same material as the bluefin in at the old post office in Charlottetown. Now that's gleaming every day you drive by it. These are rather brown now. Anyway, I'd like to see them cleaned up, and if we can get that thing working.
So the
I know it's gonna
capital
need-
budget would include something for a new piece?
Yes.
Where our maintenance would cover off any maintenance that we do on any of our.
Okay.
So our maintenance budget is separate from would fall under the operational. I believe I'm correct on that one?
And Alton McKenzie's piece down there at the waterfront is in really bad shape.
Okay.
Really bad shape. And of course, the very last piece, in my mind, of course, John Beer Drive sidewalk.
Yeah.
I see it as a sidewalk, but I don't see it as storm drain. Because my request was a sidewalk with an engineered storm drain. Because the street has two sides to get rid of the water, and we're losing parts of the street on both sides.
Do you want to address that one?
So we did put an RFP last week, looking for engineering services, and part of that is surveying and design, and part of that will be whatever they identify, and so they'll come up with a package, and that will go to tender. We are aware that there'll be some stormwater issues, we just don't know the extent of it, so that surveying all has to happen for us to get the true picture of that, but it's all packaged, part and parcel of the same package, in consultation with highways as well, because they do manage the stormwater.
Right.
So that's the plan at this point.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
It's not so much a question, I just personally like to have the honor to thank my fellow councillors, to worship yourself and our great staff. And, you know, we sometimes get slashed and diced in the wrong way, but it's been a privilege to work with everybody, and nice to know that everybody's all on the same page and working to make Three Rivers a better place.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Any questions? Cody, go ahead.
I don't know if I have too many questions or just kind of more of echo what Wayne just said. I think it says something about us as council and especially the staff. I think that slide that John showed from 2019 to 2026 says something. I mean, there's been quite a few of us, 6 of us, I think, that have been here since the first. I think we've grown this town. I know maybe there's residents that think that our growth is too much and we're allowing too much to happen, but then in the same sense, if you want to grow the services or support the services, that is the key, is growing your tax base. I think also on the slide there where it shows the breakdown of our expenses, where you see maintenance and infrastructure at 23%, I think that is massively important. I think that may have been a struggle of our former towns, is being able to continue to grow the infrastructure and then even maintain the infrastructure, especially I know in Georgetown and Montague we had quite a bit of stuff, and as things got more expensive, maintaining rinks and playhouses and waterfronts and all of that, it became every year, maybe we couldn't do all the things that we have been doing, and you had to look at, okay, well this year we'll do this facility, and hopefully next year we can do that facility, where I think staff has done a great job looking at all facilities and doing the real crucial upgrades. I think very important is the administration services and the professional staff we have now. I know when we were smaller towns, you had 1 or 2 people, and while you may want to do a whole bunch of projects, you only had 1 or 2 staff members, and you could only do so much work with those, right? Like how many projects could we take on as Georgetown? Even if we had unlimited money, you still could only manage so many projects. Now we have a staff that are all professional in their area that can support each other and really push projects through at a way faster pace than we would have done individually. And I had one more comment, I think. Oh, maybe that was it. So yeah, thank you to council, staff, and it's a very positive budget with no tax increases, and look forward to a good year.
I'll just make one comment on the professional staff part of thing. Last week, we did a mock emergency, preparing just in case we ever have a situation like Fiona again. So we had staff together at the Wellness Center. We worked ourselves through a mock emergency situation, just to prepare us. It's a good exercise. One of the things we did was we went around the table and had people talk about what their position was and how long they've been with the town. And I was surprised at how many people said, well, I've been here a year and a half, 2 years, whatever. So we've added, not necessarily added a number of people, but we've had a number of new people join us. And I think what we've done is a really good job of attracting high quality people to the town. And you really see that in the work that we're putting out the door now. And I think, you know, when I was talking to someone earlier tonight, and I said my philosophy, and I said this when we did the interview for this position a few years ago. If you want to accomplish something, you look after HR and you look after budget. And if you have your HR in good position and your budget in good position, you're going to accomplish things.
Anybody else?
Yeah, thanks for that, Cody, because I just like to echo that. I think that, you know, there's a lot of negative things said about Three Rivers these days by a handful of people. But in reality, the reason I'm sitting here is because I wanted to help move this town forward and leave a better place for my kids. Now, maybe that's kind of selfish, but for everybody's kids. And I think that this budget reflects that. Like, it's a good balance of getting more things done and being fiscally responsible. And so I just appreciate all the work that's gone into it. I also appreciate the fact that my first go around with the budget was a nightmare because I didn't know what I was doing. And it was a lot of more meetings and a lot more work, and this is much more professionally done, and so, thanks. Yeah.
Cindy, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to echo everything too. So, like Cody said, with all the smaller municipalities at the time and all the flack we took over amalgamating, I think this is a proven track record here that this works if the people will all come on board to realize that. And that's where we get a lot of the negativity and all, I hear it every day. So I just want people to take a good, strong look at this budget, see what the town has accomplished, what we've done, what we've fulfilled, and what we are yet to fill. And we're going to work hard. I too, Ann, used to be quite a critic when way back at the town of Georgetown when they came to council. And I thought, well, Cindy, shut up and put up and get into council. And I did. And boy, did I get my eyes open. But it was a good opening. So I want what's best for everybody in Three Rivers, and I want us to continue to grow. But it's the younger generation that we have to look after. So if we can set these high standards and they can fulfill them with us, you know, we're going to be laughing. So I just want to thank the staff for all their hard work. I know sometimes it's hard to put up with me, but that's who I am. So thank you all. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you, John and Debbie and all the staff. And thank my fellow councillors. They've been a treat by times and they've been a pain by times, but I enjoy working with each and every one of you. Thanks.
It's great to hear all those comments, and I agree with everybody. I think we've shown by this budget and all that we've accomplished since amalgamation, that amalgamation has made us, our communities, all stronger. And I think that's, nobody can dispute that by the budget that we presented tonight and what's happened here in Three Rivers and the growth we've seen. I know sometimes, yeah, there is different opinions on growth, as Cody said, but you cannot provide for your residents and service what you have, service your utilities, service your infrastructure, if you do not have growth. And you need growth to have a vibrant, sustainable town. And I think we've managed our growth well. And as I say, we're stronger together, and that's I think what amalgamation has shown us. And I thank every one of you, including staff, and I thank John for the great presentation, because I have to echo what Ann said. It did make everything clear. It puts everything in perspective. It shows us where our money comes from very clearly and where it goes. And I think that's great. Anyway, thank you all. Okay. So we need a motion to pass this budget. Moved by Deputy Mayor Jenkins, second by Councillor Van Donkersgoed. All in favor? Aye. I don't hear any nays, so the motion, the budget is passed. Thank you very much, and I'll call for adjournment. Move, okay. Moved by, all in favor? Aye. Okay, moved by Councillor McFarland and seconded by Councillor McLean.